Mine. Yours.
Excuse me.
Now, speaking of Twitter stuff, some of you may have seen this on last Friday. Well, last Friday from when this is being recorded and likely first premiering. If you're watching this a week afterwards, it wasn't last Friday, but Friday the 17th, Friday, January 17th, 2025. Beau DeMayo finally responded to one of my points. So it's funny, this topic actually could work for either Batman's discussions or Marvelous discussions, because it's kind of an overlap with DC and Marvel. Because for those of you who don't know, Beau DeMayo is the writer for X-Men 97, who Marvel fired for BS reasons. And, there's a whole petition of people who wanted him back, and I was one of those people. But then I saw he went after a DC actor that I'm a fan of, Ezra Miller, or so it appeared. I want to say, so it appeared based on the comments. So I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay, so Beau DeMayo made a very fair point here. Stop blaming the audiences for a movie flopping. It's the job of the storyteller to make people care. And I agree with what Beau DeMayo said right here. Completely agree. So, unfortunately, the account that he responded to is from a Twitter handle that no longer exists. But basically, it was something about Ezra Miller, the lead, being a bad person. Not the allegations, mind you. Not the allegations. Specifically acting like the allegations are all true. Because there is a huge difference between acknowledging the allegations and then acting like they're true. There's a huge difference between saying the allegations caused the film to flop and that Ezra Miller actually did this stuff. So when Beau DeMayo said there's also this, I got pissed off. Because, again, obviously, I'm a huge fan of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I've been a big defender of Ezra Miller. And I'm thinking, you get wrongly fired from your job, and here you are commenting on someone else's allegations. And I got upset with him, and I called him out a few times. He didn't respond until last Friday. So, and again, this is Friday the 17th, just to clarify, in case you're watching this a month after this video gets uploaded. But anyways, this is what I said. FYI, I was rooting for Beau DeMayo to continue with X-Men 97. But after he engaged in the false allegations regarding Ezra Miller, despite going through something similar himself, I am no longer rooting for him. And then he said, when did I engage in the allegations of Ezra Miller? And then I make this point. I said, if you had said, IDK, if this is true, but the allegation that caused it to flop, that would be a constructive conversation to have. But when you say there's also this without responding to the specific comments, it's assumed you mean everything. Now, to clarify, in that comment that is not shown, there were multiple things that were said on there, not just that Ezra Miller's a bad person. But the point is, when he said there's also this, again, unless you specify, it's assumed you mean everything. That is what is assumed. That is what is generally assumed based on the comment. And I was hoping that Beau DeMayo didn't mean it like that. I really was. So I was trying to call him out, give him the chance to clarify that statement. Because I don't like hypocrites. I really don't. And when you go through something similar and then throw someone else under the bus who went through something similar as you, it's hard for me to root for you. It is. And then, I don't know if I'm going to go through the whole thing, but Beau DeMayo, he clarified the intention right here. He said, oh, that wasn't my intention. I'm literally saying the allegation scandal caused it. In terms of the allegation, IDK if it's true. But I was disappointed that more people didn't pay attention last August when the grooming allegations were dropped. And for those of you who don't know, this is referring to Chase Iron Eyes, the father of the child that Ezra Miller was accused of grooming. He initially accused Ezra Miller in 2022, and then he was like, hey, I was wrong last August. No one covered it. So that's what Beau DeMayo is referring to. So now I'm like, good, great. This is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I was hoping to see, is that Beau DeMayo meant it like that. Because as I said, the allegations absolutely did play a part in the Flash failing. And that's why I will respect that conversation. But if you act like they're true, that I will not. And and in this post-truth world, I know there's people who are going to be where the truth doesn't always matter. We know this is a problem. I mean, heck, Sox and I, we've talked about Jonathan Majors so many times on Marvelous Discussions. We know this is an issue. But that doesn't mean that we as humans don't have a personal responsibility to reduce the issue as much as possible. For content creators to tell the truth in these scenarios, for other celebrities, other writers, other people who have a following to tell the truth in these situations too. So the point is, Beau DeMayo and I did resolve the issues, I think. Now, I did apologize to Beau DeMayo. I did send him an apology on DM, and I quote treated him since he clarified that, because I'm a fair person, okay? I thank him for clarifying. This is what I said. One, thank you for clarifying what you mean. I really appreciate it. I'm glad it was just a misunderstanding. Hopefully we get Ezra Miller back as Flash again, and hopefully we get you writing on X-Men 97. FYI, I haven't seen season 1 yet, so no spoilers. You can thank the X-Men review show that Sock Zodwriter and I do for that. And then I said, now that we clarified the misunderstanding regarding the Ezra Miller comment, it is my turn to apologize for Beau DeMayo for going after him. So that's basically the long and short of what happened again, is that I had my issues. I called up Beau DeMayo. He clarified the issues, and we're good. And look, this happens sometimes. Sometimes people make a comment, and they're not paying attention to what they're actually saying, or they weren't as clear as they thought they were. I've done that too. Make no mistake. Batman has done that. I'm sure Sox has done it. We're human. We make mistakes. It happens. And Beau DeMayo clarified the comment, and he was even saying he was fine with me shooting him a DM. He even said that to me too. So as far as I'm concerned, my respect for Beau DeMayo is back. The fact that he even let me DM him, because he followed me just so I could DM him, because you can't DM him unless he follows you. So I have huge respect for him for doing that. But I wanted that clarification because people follow Beau DeMayo. So when he's acting like the allegations are true towards Ezra Miller, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, yeah, see, even Beau DeMayo says so. So when he clarifies it, again, I appreciate that. I really do. And now I am rooting for him to write X-Men 97. But it was hard for me to root for him to get his job back for season 2 and season 3 when he was going after someone else. But now that was clarified, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, we hashed it out. And I think I'm rooting for him again. So I wanted to kind of share this story because I know some people saw the argument, and originally before this conversation, I was just going to call out Beau DeMayo completely, but I'm really glad that this topic evolved into this. So anyway, Sox, I did some rambling. Is there anything you want to say about this whole situation?
No, you handled it the right way, man. You said what you had to say, and he was man enough to respond in a decent manner, which I appreciate. And you were able to talk civil and respectful one another, which again, in this internet world, I appreciate that more than anything because it takes 2 intelligent civil people to talk and discuss things in a rational sense. Every so often you got somebody that's like, well, you know what you're talking about, and then go with the name calling and disrespect and all this and blah, blah, blah. That's easy to do. But if you get 2 intelligent people to sit back and discuss certain things and maybe clarify certain things that what one person may have said or didn't say or whatever, and hash it all out. That's the best way to be.
Exactly, Socks. Exactly. And again, as you know, since we have both defended Jonathan Majors on the show plenty of times, and on the X-Men review show, we've defended both. I mean, I think you and Zara more defended Beau DeMayo just because I wasn't as informed at the time and haven't really been watching X-Men 97. But just since we're talking about Beau DeMayo now, what are your general thoughts on him as a writer for X-Men 97?
That cartoon, that show, to me was the best show I saw last year. That's the Penguin, because the writing is so good, and it captured what the comics were because it's loosely based on the comics that came out in the 90s. He was able to capture that. He was able to capture the nostalgia of the original series from the 90s, the cartoon series. He made you love all these characters, even though whether they're flawed or not, which they are. He was able to show you what the X-Men are really about and how they are constantly, the world is fears and hates them for what they are and what they go through with the bigotry and how they overcome that and keep fighting no matter what the reason is. X-Men 97, in my opinion, is the best cartoon I've seen in years. I absolutely love that cartoon. I've watched it more than once. I'm probably going to end up watching it again right before the new season starts, like later on next year. He knows how to craft a story. For whatever reason, he may have had an issue with Marvel, whatever behind the scenes. I don't know all the details behind it. I don't need to know all the details behind it. All I know is the man's a good writer. In fact, I would put him as a great writer. I would love to see him write more stuff, whether it's X-Men or something else, because he has the gift. He didn't force any agenda on the things that people claim they did. I know a lot of people say, well, it's because of him he made Morph gay. Yeah, okay, so Morph was homosexual. It wasn't pushed down our throats. People got mad because they said Morph loves Wolverine. Gay people love straight people all the time. It's something unusual. Doesn't mean it's gonna have a relationship. You can be in love with somebody and it never comes back towards you from that other person. Not a bad thing. It's just how things are. Things work that way. You've got to remember that we live in a society where if you create a gay character nowadays, you're considered automatically woke. That's not always, and that's sad because it shouldn't be that way. And that's why a lot of writers today that create a gay character won't do it because they are afraid of being labeled as woke. Because that's the stigma that's been put onto it now. And it's not right. Because not every writer is woke. Not every writer wants to write politics. Not every writer wants to cater to that crap. They just want to tell good stories. And Beau DeMayo told a very good story. Episode 5 alone for X-Men 97 should have got an Emmy, possibly even an Academy Award. How good that episode was. It made me cry. Because if you watch that show back then, I'm telling you, you have that respect for the X-Men that you won't believe, man. That is how the X-Men are, to an exact T.
And I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait. So for those of you who don't know, Socks, Zodwriter, and I do a show called X-Men, the review show, presented by Marvelous Discussions. So it's like a sub-brand of Marvelous Discussions. And the idea is that Socks and Zodwriter have seen X-Men, the animated series, all this time, but I haven't. So you're getting different perspectives. You get the perspective of people who've seen it already, know what happens, and then you get the perspective of the guy who hasn't seen it. So they get to see my speculation for what happens next. That's why I haven't watched X-Men the animated series past season 2, because that's how far we got. And then Deadpool and Wolverine was about to come out, so then we had to switch to review the live action stuff, and there's just so much other stuff to cover. So we will get back to that show. I promise you, we will get back to it. Well, the idea is we'll get through everything before season 2 comes out. So that's the idea. We'll do our reviews on seasons 3 through 5 and X-Men 97. So that way, again, you get my perspective on this as well, my fresh perspective. And yeah, so at the end of the day, I'm glad that Beau, DeMayo, and I clarified our misunderstandings and buried the hatchet. And again, I don't want to completely speak for Beau, DeMayo because he has not responded to my apology, but I think we're cool. I'm sure we are. And if I'm wrong and there is some update, some major update, I'll post it on here. So yeah. But I just I wanted to share this, and I feel like this could really work for either DC or Marvel. So I just did it with the next show and give some perspective on Beau DeMayo a little bit. So thank you, Sox, for providing your insight as well. I really appreciate it. And Marvel, hire back Beau DeMayo. Hire back Beau DeMayo. Since originally recording this, Beau DeMayo did respond to me in a DM. He says we're good, so we are good. I just wanted to add that update real quick. And also, I have a minor clarification. When I initially did this post that I said was on Friday, January 17th, technically it was Saturday, January 18th, because it was after midnight. I know that's a very nitpicky correction, but I figured I should clarify that. And I'm basing this off my Chicago time zone.